What is up, everybody? Paul here, coming at you with a crypto coffee update. We're going to start the day right because I got some crypto, I got some news, and I got a shift up in format that I'll let you know about here momentarily. But first, we have to have our simultaneous sip. Delicious. And this shift up in format is going to occur in the news bite. I know hearing negative news all the time can be kind of a downer, and my goal here is not to let you know that cryptocurrency is rife with all of these issues. After all, it's a major improvement on the legacy financial system, and frankly, it's going to empower the world over. So with that said, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the news developing today, but then we're going to get into coin market cap, and I'm going to go through some of the top coins piece by piece, episode by episode, and let you guys know what I think about it, some relevant news coming out, and just give you little tidbits to maybe get you to do your own research on those coins that you find interesting. And hopefully you may find that helpful. This segment was inspired by Matthias, a friend of mine and a community member over at Cryptide, so cheers to you, brother. Let's go ahead and get into the news of the day. Litecoin Charlie Lee to back token pay in exchange for WEG Bank acquisition. So Charlie Lee is buying a bank. Now, I have some thoughts on Charlie Lee. I will go over it very briefly. First of all, this comes from Bitfinex. We've covered this user before, all the way back January 10th. This gentleman, I don't know if he's an investigative journalist professionally, but he does a lot of work and definitely deserves a lot of credit in the space. You can see Coinbase Insider Trading, Litecoin Edition. Let's unpack what happened. Well, Charlie Lee is the creator of Litecoin. He simply forked Bitcoin and adjusted a couple variables, and also added the script algorithm from another crypto. Second problem is he held a lot of Litecoin when it was listed, so it can reasonably be considered a conflict of interest. Here's the main takeaway. After Litecoin was essentially dead in terms of price and volume for years, just days before it was listed on Coinbase, somebody bought a lot of it, and we're not sure who. And directly after, Charlie Lee quit working at Coinbase to quote-unquote focus on Litecoin full-time. That definitely sounds similar to when Charlie sold his holdings at the top of the market, essentially dumping it on his followers, saying that, oh, by the way, there's a conflict of interest. It's really strange that Charlie Lee wasn't too worried about a conflict of interest here, but became very concerned at the top of the market. Nonetheless, we won't go too much into detail on that. We'll leave that for another time. Let's go ahead and unpack the actual article. You can see TokenPay is buying 9.9% of the bank, with a potential option to buy 80 to 90% pending regulatory approval. So this is an interesting merging of the traditional legacy financial system and digital assets such as Litecoin, headed up by Charlie Lee himself. Next up, possible Bitcoin ETFs raise market hopes as the US SEC opens a public discussion for the CBOE fund license. Some interesting conversation coming out of there, including but not limited to a gentleman named Kyle McDougall, who really, I think, echoed the sentiment of a lot of investors. Hey, why not remove the accredited investors restriction? Wealth is not a measure of intelligence, and believe it or not, non-accredited investors also have brains. Please open up this ETF to all investors and then approve it. Well said, Kyle, and I think a lot of people echo that sentiment, myself included. Frankly, the rich get richer, business as usual mentality is something that crypto is poised to supplant, and that's a good sentiment indeed. Those are just the two articles I wanted to cover today. Let's go ahead and examine some of the coins on CoinMarketCap. Like I said, I'm going to cover the top 8 today, and we can move on from there episode by episode. And if you find these coins interesting, hopefully it'll prompt you to do your own research, and who knows, you might find your new favorite coin here from the Crypto Coffee Update. So let's get into it. First up is Bitcoin Core, listed here as Bitcoin. Bitcoin Core is the big daddy of cryptocurrencies, started all the way back in 2009 by none other than Satoshi Nakamoto. Given its predominance in the industry, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon, even though it has had some issues with transactions relative to its block size. That in turn causes transaction fees to skyrocket, but given that it's been called digital gold, many people don't seem too concerned about it. We'll see if that remains the case when the next bull run kicks off. Next up, we have Ethereum, and the most likely cryptocurrency to supplant the Big Daddy Bitcoin. Ethereum is by far the world's smart contract system for the time being, given that they were the first and they've pretty much done the best. Many ICOs have been launched on the Ethereum network, even though they don't necessarily have the best native scaling. This has led to some issues with increasing gas prices, which is what it costs to send transactions on the Ethereum network. However, Vitalik Buterin has said that Plasma is close. This will hopefully ease some of the issues of increasing costs on the Ethereum network, but this does open up a good window for competition from coins such as Komodo and Ardor to make a grand appearance with their native scaling solutions. Next up, we have number 3, XRP. Now, XRP has been called the bankster's coin, but nonetheless, its parent company, Ripple, has done a lot of interesting innovations with what's called X-Rapid. It's been tested by the central banks of both Korea and Japan, transferring funds back and forth, and if 2 central banks are using it as a medium of transaction, that's a good sign in my opinion. Even though it is the legacy financial system, that helps to inform the number 3 spot and the predominance of Ripple/XRP. Now, given the issue that XRP may be viewed as a security due to the concentration of who holds it, recently a tweet was put out by the company discerning what Ripple and XRP are and what makes them different. Now, this didn't shake the XRP community, and they seem as zealous as ever to keep pushing forward with the XRP token. So, that's number 3. Moving on to number 4, Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash was the logical conclusion of the great Bitcoin scaling debate, where the block was kept at 1 megabyte. Well, Bitcoin Cash said no longer. They're going to increase the block size to 8 and now 32 megabytes. A lot of space in there, meaning that there's a lot of scalability. Transactions cost next to nothing and are near instantaneous thanks to zero confirmation. However, this hasn't come without controversy given issues with Roger Ver and Bitmain. Everybody involved in this debate has some opinion, whether it's one way, the other, or somewhere in between, but point of the matter is there's been many innovations on the Bitcoin Cash chain thanks to these larger blocks. You can see an article here talking about on-chain betting, and not only that, I recently saw an article talking about a coin tumbler, which means anonymous transactions on the Bitcoin Cash chain are very close. Next up, number 5, we have EOS, which I won't comment on. You can see some previous Crypto Coffee updates and maybe inform yourself as to why I'm not going to comment on EOS. We've kind of beaten a dead horse there. Moving on to number 6, Litecoin. We've covered Litecoin in this Crypto Coffee update, and despite my feelings on Charlie Lee, Litecoin has been described as the silver to Bitcoin's gold. And when transaction fees skyrocketed in Bitcoin, many individuals preferred to use Litecoin or Ethereum, with many preferring Litecoin due to its similarities. Not to mention the shorter block time on Litecoin indeed can make it a preferable option in some cases, but given the fact that Bitcoin Cash is sort of supplanting Litecoin in that regard, making a move to partner with existing legacy financial institutions, it makes more sense in that light. Moving on from number 6 to number 7, Stellar Lumens. Stellar Lumens is a fork of Ripple/XRP and is a bit more decentralized. Stellar recently partnered with Microsoft, and Microsoft made an announcement that they will be using blockchain technology in Australia. So by extension, Stellar has had some good exposure to world governments as well. It's remained to be seen what impact that will have on the long term, but nonetheless, Stellar is well positioned in my opinion for at least the next little while. Stellar Lumens is followed by number 8, Cardano, which was founded by Charles Hoskinson, who used to work for Invictus Innovations with Dan Larimer and friends. And Charles claims that Cardano has solved the long-running proof-of-stake issue in cryptocurrency. This is something that the longest-running stable proof-of-stake, NXT, has been trying to prove for a while now, but in terms of mathematics and technical application, it can be difficult. However, Cardano has apparently created a mathematically provable version of proof-of-stake, which has indeed caused much fanfare. With that said, we'll have to see what the future holds for Cardano, but I don't think it's going to be dropping like a rock anytime soon, given the people backing it. That's all we have for the news and for the coin market cap analysis. Let me know if you guys like that kind of thing. If you found it kind of boring or really uninteresting, that's fine. Drop me a comment, let me know, and we can switch up the format. But for now, let's go ahead and get into the Crypto Coffee update for Friday, July 13th. I guess Friday the 13th isn't the best day to have something going on, which is why I couldn't find anything major. A couple announcements here or there, but we'll have to move on to Saturday, July 14th. There's going to be a Neo workshop in Rotterdam and the Ethereum Magicians meetup in Berlin. For Sunday, July 15th, we have the Pillar Unconference going on in Vilnius, Lithuania. That's all we have for Sunday and for this Crypto Coffee update. Like I said, let me know if you like the coin market cap analysis, if you find it useful. If you want something more specific, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see about working something in like that. With that said, thank you so much for watching. Your support really does mean the world to us. We're 100% self-funded and donation-funded, so we're supported in part by viewers like you. We do this as a labor of love for the crypto community because, after all, digital assets and crypto has the biggest potential to maximize human freedom. I genuinely believe that. And if you believe it too, please drop us a like on Viewly or on Steemit. We get a little bit of cryptocurrency for that, and that really is extremely helpful. Also, check out the decentralized community at Exactly. I was introduced recently and they have almost 7,000 members from all walks of life with all kinds of different skill sets, and doing things decentralized is the way of the future. It's a great way to get connected, meet like-minded people, meet some good friends, and maybe even meet some people in your area who share common interests. And as usual, links below in the description. Get your information, check behind me, do your own research. It is critical. But for now, this is Paul signing off. Thanks again for watching. Much love, everybody. We are Cryptide, and the tide is rising.